Hello and welcome to My Mom's Basement, presented by 3Chi and Barstool Sports. I am your host, Robbie Fox. With me is my co-host, Clem, and we are here to talk about Chapter 5 of the Book of Boba Fett, Return of the Mandalorian. And Clem, this was referring as much to the TV show as it was the character. I mean, the TV show's back.
Are we sure it was chapter 5 of the Book of Boba Fett? Are we sure it wasn't chapter 1 of book 3 of the Mandalorian? Because I don't know what the fuck's going on. The Return of the Mandalorian. You see that in the beginning of the episode. You're like, oh, you're going to get a full Mando after that little opening. And then it just became a Mandalorian episode. And hey, I'm not complaining.
I wasn't mad at it one bit, but like, Boba Fett's not in it. He's just straight up not in this episode. This is the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 5, Boba Fettless.
Boba Fettless. And so, we've been doing, is it a single? Is it a double? I think everyone loved this. This episode was as close to like universally loved for Boba Fett episodes as there's been. And they're saying, Clem, we got our home run. This is not a home run episode.
No?
This is a slam dunk. This is a different sport. We're not playing baseball. Mandalorian does not play baseball. Boba plays baseball. Mandalorian is a different sport. This was a slam dunk episode. I can't give it a fucking baseball play. So, yeah, I compared it to, I feel like these were in like comics back in the day or whatever, maybe like The Simpsons. You know when the kid is in class and he has like a history textbook and the inside is a comic book that he's reading because he's bored of the history? He basically snuck a Mandalorian comic book inside the Book of Boba Fett. It's kind of a tough look for our guy Boba. And listen, I'm riding for Boba. I'm trying to make Boba my guy. I think he was so cool. He has the cool name, the cool armor, all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to make him like the Mandalorian that we all know and love. They really have just done him dirty with the first 4 episodes. Then they bring in the Mandalorian, who just completely overshadowed him on his own show. He is Cucka Fett. He's Cucka Fett now.
Cucka Fett. I mean, I feel bad. I liked all of the Book of Boba Fett we've gotten so far, but I didn't like any of it as much as I liked this episode. I mean, this was like, for me, when people were tweeting me this week saying, did we finally get our home run? I said, oh, it's out of there. It's out of the park. The fans have caught it, and they're already trying to get the ball back because they're like, this is a historic ball we got to get back. So, yeah. I mean, I loved it, but like you said, the Mandalorian kind of overshadowed Boba Fett on his own show. It's tough.
He just, what does Jay-Z say? You made it a hot line. I made it a hot song. Like, that's what fucking Mando did here. It's pretty fucked up how he just took it from him. And again, I love Mando. I've been saying it, but Boba, I always wanted to be the guy. And I said before this episode on Tuesday night, I said, this is the biggest chapter of Boba Fett's career. And he didn't even show up, and he somehow still got the L. It's crazy.
Yeah, he sent in a pinch hitter.
Yeah, exactly. And no one's complaining. I don't hear him being like, oh, man, I really missed the flashback to Tank. I really wanted to, I rewatched the previous episode of Book of Boba Fett, too. And when I forgot how silly it is when he tells the little rat droid, he goes, I am Boba Fett, to the rat droid. It's like, what are you doing, dude?
Just don't you know who I am?
Oh,
it's like, God. No, that droid? No, of course not.
I'm very concerned. I think we could like the episode. I still think we could like the Book of Boba Fett, the show, and I do think it can still end great. I am very concerned that the high point for the Book of Boba Fett is going to be when he shot Bib Fortuna, went on the throne, and Fennec Shand came in at the end of The Mandalorian. I think that was the highlight of the Book of Boba Fett because I have not felt as hyped about the show as I did at that moment, right? And I feel like keep the fucking helmet on, stop having slow chases, and just like do cool Boba Fett shit that you did in The Mandalorian. We've seen him do it before. So anyway, I don't want to be negative. I just want to say, like, I thought for this episode, Boba took the biggest L and the Mando got the biggest W, and it was a Mandalorian episode. But again, I think everyone listening to this was pretty happy about the episode when it's all said and done. The other thing, though, is how the fuck are we going to wrap up this guy? Unless, like, does the Book of Boba Fett go 2 seasons, 3 seasons? Because I don't know what the fuck is even going on right now. The flashback, the thing had us all screwed up. I'm still not convinced the Pikes are the main villain of the show. But, like, at this point, how are they? I thought we had 9 episodes. We have 7. We have 2 more episodes left.
2 more.
How are we going to wrap up this story in a nice bow in 2 episodes. I don't understand. Like, remember we thought the Huts were going to be this big part of it, and the Pikes were then going to be answering to someone else. I don't think you can even wrap up the story unless you go the Game of Thrones hit fast forward like they did the last season, and no one was happy with that, right?
Yeah, there's certainly a chance. I mean, I will say there's still 2 episodes left. If they're both the length of this one, it's basically 2 hours. So it's basically like when you think about it in terms of a movie, of course, this isn't a movie. It's a TV show that they've been very slowly building. So that has to play a factor in it. But I think they're going to end the series hugely. I think it's going to be a massive fireworks ending to the Book of Boba Fett, especially looking back to that interview I mentioned in episode 1, chapter 1. Kevin Smith did an interview with the director of photography. And he said, what should we look out for in this show? And the guy's answer was episodes 5, 6, and 7. He said, episodes 5, 6, and 7. It's just gonna blow your mind. This was the start of that, and so far he's right. This was blowing my mind. Last week I said, hey, if the Mandalorian shows up with a fucking dark saber and starts slicing people, slicing and dicing, I don't want to hear any complaints. And that's exactly what he did this week. I mean, we should get right into it because the opening scene of this episode was some of the coolest Star Wars we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, and this just reminds you of how Mando kind of took the fan base that was so divided. And we had talked about that in the last episode, right? It was such a divided fan base and people were so kind of bummed about Star Wars. And he just lifted us up, put us on his back. Greg Jennings and Madden put the team on my back. The hardest hitting fan base in the world, angry Star Wars fans. Fuck you, Gumby. And that's what he did. He carried us and he did it again this episode.
Yeah, so let's get into it. We start in a space butcher shop, basically. It looks like Rocky. They got all the meat hanging and everything, and we see just through the plastic flaps the silhouette of our guy Din Djarin, the Mandalorian. You get the little like horns right away. You're like, oh shit. You could see the spear in his back, the silhouette of it. So you're like, this is our fucking guy. He walks through. Badass entrance. We get him right away. It's like they're not making us wait, obviously. And he shows up for a bounty. He says, I'm here to collect a bounty on Caba Baez. And he goes in the back room. It very much looks like it's kind of mafioso. Like that's where the back room of a New Jersey butcher shop would look like.
Yes.
It's got the mob in the back, right? And he says, Caba Baez is like, he's not here. If you have the closed captions on, you know right away. All right, this is the guy Mando's looking for. He's like, he's not here. What would make you think he's here? And Mando shows him the tracker device, and then he shows him the holographic like ping where it's like, oh, here's the puck. No, this is you. And he's like, well, you're surrounded. Mando gives everyone the chance to leave the room at first, and then they start to attack him, and out comes the fucking Darksaber. And he's not great with it yet. He winds up slicing his own leg up with the Darksaber. He burns it on the saber, which is like, all right, he's still learning. I like that he's not just a swordsman, a master swordsman just yet. And he winds up killing all of these guys, slicing through them like butter, Clem, with the Darksaber. He puts the guy on the table, Caba Baez, slices through him after he fucking stabs him too. Then he winds up slicing his head off, puts it in a bag, and he walks out. All the workers, he tells them, listen, there's money in there. If you want to go take that money, it's all on you. And he walks out of there. And immediately I'm thinking he needs a Bacta tank. He starts limping out of there. I'm like, Mando's got to get himself a Bacta tank. Although, would he take all the armor off for that thing? I don't know.
I didn't even think about it back. I have to start thinking about that for every single time a Star Wars person ends up fucked up. The fact that they just paid it off right away. So I was like, oh shit, we're getting Mando off the jump and we're getting the Darksaber off the jump. And it's kind of just giving you all those pings. I could bring you in warm. I could bring you in cold. Like that was awesome as well.
Kind of just hearing it again. Yeah, it gives you goosebumps. Yeah.
And the seedy vibes of like the criminal underbelly of the Star Wars world, which we get a little bit later as well. But I dug that kind of universe building they've been doing with it. And I just have holy fuck, because when he just slices the guy in half, I was like, oh, okay, that's the thing about Mando. Like, I don't want to say he got soft on us, but the show got a little like softer whenever he was around Grogu. You're like, oh, look at that cute little baby. I just want to I want to squeeze you, right? His big black eyes. Now it's like, no, Mando is like a fucking animal when he has to be. And he kind of did remind you of that right off the jump. So I appreciate that. And I also got reminded, and people are going to talk the Darksaber, which was cool. We saw the spear, which I loved. That motherfucking armor came to play. And that's the reason why goddamn Boba Fett, like, I'm so mad. Wear your armor. wear your helmet. That's what makes you guys so fucking cool. Like Rey Mysterio, that's the guy, like that guy was behind the mask all those years. I know he took the mask off, but Rey Mysterio, I think the mask. I think of a Mando, I think of the fucking mask. So I can't hate. Mando crushed it there. Boba's on the hot seat after that. After that opening too, like I was like, oh fuck, we're in trouble here.
Such a cool opening. And I loved when he told all the workers, like, hey, go grab the Republic credits. Like, they're not mine. All of them were wearing like just the most human hats. One had like a beanie on, one had like a scally cap, like one had a bandana. I was like, oh, this is great. I loved it. And he's shown on a halo, like right where he is like a big halo ring. Something that we haven't seen in Star Wars before. We've seen in the video game Halo. That's like where they are in a lot of those things. But he goes and drops this head off in a nightclub bar type place in exchange for some intel on where the covert is, the new Mandalorian covert. And we don't know that right away, but he starts looking through like almost thermal predator vision, and you see the little Mandalorian symbol, which is like such a cool little way of like drawing the mask and everything. I thought that was so cool. He finds the secret entrance finally. He goes down and we see the armor. It's the first time we've seen her in a long time. And she's just kind of like sitting on the edge of this long outlook. It looks like she's almost meditating or something. And the aesthetic of this entire underground place was so cool. Someone compared it online to Coruscant meets Cloud City. And I agreed with it. It gives you that like feeling of like, if we fall, are we just in fucking space right now? Like, why would anyone be here? But it's that dangerous, no railing Star Wars look. So I liked that. I thought it was cool. She winds up telling him all about the Darksaber when she finds his new weapon. And Paz Vizsla, who is Jon Favreau's Mandalorian, wound up hitting him with a little cold spray and fixing up his wound for him. So yeah, Paz had some questions about the Darksaber as well. They're not as subtle with him on his intentions.
Yes, and I appreciated that too, because again, I think that between this and then the Mandalore stuff we get into, that stuff, you guys love it. You know, you and the diehard Star Wars fans love it because you guys know a lot about these people, that the family, the Vizsla family, and something had like there's actual characters in the Clone Wars cartoons, right? Where you see his dad or his grandpa.
His ancestor, and it's voiced by Jon Favreau as well. It's like all connected in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, so and you're dealing with a lot of stuff that you guys know, or different characters, or mythologies or whatever. Whereas a casual fan like me, I'm learning it for the first time, and I think we were both happy when we saw it. So that's something that they've been doing well with the Star Wars stuff, and I did appreciate it. The whole fucking the giant space ring, which I know Ken Jack said was like the Halo space ring, and then Jeff said it was like a Never Cleaver or whatever, where we go in Infinity, or is it Endgame or Infinity War?
Infinity War.
Infinity War, yeah. So that was just such a fucking cool scene. And then, like you said, even down where the armor is, where it's like the basement version of it, but you still see space. What do you say? Cloud City meets
Coruscant or something.
Coruscant. Perfect fucking comparison there. I've never been asked to come and sit down for a feast with someone. That sounded so fucking awesome. And shout out to Mando. I mean, I guess he had he had like a legit wound that he had tend to. But like if someone's like, no, come on, sit down, have dinner, I could always be like, no, I'm good. But when someone says let's feast, fuck man, like you don't get those things a lot, especially if you're a bounty hunter. You're fucking grinding, chopping off people's heads to make money.
Like a cool bar too, right?
Yeah, I would definitely.
Kind of banging, yeah.
And am I wrong? I feel like feast, you're dealing with like multiple entrees. I don't know what the definition of a feast is, but you're not just dealing with like a nice turkey, but you're dealing with a turkey, maybe some duck, some like a fucking lasagna, like a heavy hitter pasta dish, shit like that.
And like everything's for the table in a feast, I would imagine. Nobody's getting themselves an individual dish. It's like we're ordering 100 things and they're all going in the middle of the table. Also, the aliens at that table looked very interesting. Like one of the lead ones had like a bird face. I feel like I've never seen that before.
I had a lot of questions. I don't know if I was just hungry in the morning. I had a lot of questions about the meat of the Star Wars galaxy between the feast and then even in the beginning with like you said, like the slaughterhouse. I'm like, are we dealing? What kind of things are we doing? That's not a cow right there, obviously, because I haven't seen a cow in a galaxy.
It looks like it though. Away. It's crazy. It's like in the concept art, they had like bantha heads hanging, or they had like not banthas, but they had some kind of like space animal hanging. And it looked very Star Warsy. The final product wound up looking like it was, like I said, straight out of Rocky. It just looked like that cow's hanging or something.
I'm looking up the definition of feast, and it says an elaborate and usually abundant meal often accompanied by a ceremony. So I guess there's not I feel you need to have 3 entree minimum for a
abundant
feast.
Feels, At least they're clarifying, like, it's got to be a lot.
Also, I've never been able to, I don't think I've ever said this on a podcast before, but it is an old Big Cat take that is one of my favorite takes. He said on KFC radio, I mean, we're dealing, obviously, Big Cat on KFC radio years ago. He says, best move you could do at a diner is get an order of pancakes for the table at breakfast. And I was, the first time I heard that, it was like, that is such a fucking, I always knew Dan was fucking a talented, smart guy, but that put me on a whole new level. I'm like, that always makes sense. You get pancakes, you're done. By the end, you're like, oh man, that was like a pancake too much. You get it for the table. Everyone gets a little pancake. You get a little taste, some syrup on the plate. Everyone's happy by the end of it. So if I'm Mando, I'm like, all right, round of pancakes for the table too. Because I just fucking chopped this dude's head. I love the fucking head thing too in the bag. I mean, there was so many cool parts of Mando.
You should put that on ice, by the way, as he's leaving. Like, that's fucking, speaking of ice, that was cold, Mando.
Oh, dude, I never go with the metal meter here, but yeah, that was definitely cold. And the Darksaber, the whole thing about not getting handed over, they hammered that home. The foreshadowing beat us over the head with it. Because again, I said this last season. Do the old Kevin Nash finger point of death, where you take the hit, fall down, and flop. And we're hearing that it cannot happen.
Nope.
These are like the hardcore religious fanatic sides of the Mandalorians here, right? So, again, I usually do not like people that are very extreme, whether it's religion, politics, anything, even sports. Like, I don't want people who are too crazy. I like someone that's pretty mellow. I loved hearing "This Is the Way" again. Didn't that just feel right? Like, that was like the beginning of it was "This Is the Way" and "I Have Spoken." Those were our two little things, along with Baby Yo, that got us all excited about the show. It got the juices flowing again. And I'll tell you, Boba Fett, clearly the loser this episode, no matter what you want to say about him. Number 2 loser on this episode, Bo-Katan got fucking sewered.
Yeah.
And again, I think this is very much different, viewpoints on the Mandalorian religion, which I think she was more like these people back in the day before she like basically
lost
ruined
sight
the
of the
entire
way
world.
they said,
yeah. And she probably got the Darksaber. She got the Darksaber in a way that was not
handed to her. Yeah. And this is stuff that we like saw play out in the Clone Wars. So it was very cool for them to actually talk about this in live action as if it was Star Wars history. I loved the line where the armorer says, everyone's been talking about the Empire for so long. They've been around for 30 years. Mandalorians have been around for 10,000. That's like, oh shit. That's like digging deeper into the Star Wars universe, all of that shit. So it was very cool. And like you said, they gave everyone that hasn't seen the Clone Wars kind of like the Spark Notes version of it. So if you saw the Clone Wars, you're like, oh shit, this is cool. They're referencing Bo-Katan's whole arc, how we saw last season. Mando's like, here, you could take the Darksaber. I don't fucking care. And Bo-Katan was just like, are you fucking kidding me? Because this has happened to her before, and she's watched the whole downfall of Mandalore. We actually saw Mandalore in live action for the first time. We get to see the Empire bombing it, and we see all of those K2SO like protocol droids or whatever they may be called, and they're fucking scary looking when they're coming down on it. It was like some Terminator 2 Judgment Day shit.
When I saw that, I was like, who the fuck are these set? Because they looked bigger on like the screen, I guess the angle it was. And I'm like, wait, did the Empire have these fucking Sentinels? That's what I know them as from X-Men. I'm like, how did they not fucking break the Sentinels out for fucking Hoth? And they broke out these fucking AT-ATs that can just get tripped over by fucking snow speeders. But okay, so that makes a little more sense.
Yeah,
they have
I like the inclusion too, because when they put K2SO in Rogue One and we see some more of those droids, I did have a thought of like, we never saw these droids ever before, but the Empire's just had them. So it's like they're making sure they include them in more things, so it's like more understandable, which I like.
Yeah, and I wonder if, I don't know how much they'll dig into that. I guess at some point they can get into it, but it's almost like when the Soviet Union fell and how like it was basically open. It was like an open market for if you wanted tanks, if you wanted helicopters, you wanted like nukes, even potentially on like the black market. I want to know like how much of that Empire shit, and then we get into the First Order and stuff like that, and how it retranslates, because there's a lot of shit. I'll tell you, man. Like they said, Empire only for 30 years, but obviously when you pick up Star Wars, it feels like they're so rooted, and it's because they fucking started the franchise with A New Hope. But there's just like, the Empire is just so fucking cool. There's such dirty, rotten scoundrels. But I love TIE bombers too. Like, it's like when I used to play the video games, TIE bombers are one of my favorite starships, and the fact that they had those made me feel fucking awesome. And again, getting a full-blown history lesson that like I have a little bit more knowledge just from being around you and with having to do some research for the pod. But like getting that, it didn't feel like too much for me. I'm sure there was shit there you have never seen before, right?
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, oh fuck yeah, let's get to Mandalore, which I think will definitely be by like season 3. We'll end up there bathing in the waters of Lake Minnetonka out there, the Lake Mandalore Tonka. But all in all, very cool. The only issue I had, Didn't want to lose that spear, Bob. You know I like that
Yeah,
spear. You know
I
I like
know.
that spear.
I know, but they said the spear presented a threat to all Mandalorians because it can pierce the armor of a Mandalorian, the Beskar, because it was made of Beskar. So we're talking about cuts here. While we're talking about cuts, I'd like to tell you about Cuts Clothing, founded by Stephen Borelli in 2016, as we say all the time. Is the Borelli distantly related to Frankie Borelli, like a Mandalorian? I think they're all part of the same Borelli covert. I think they go underneath what's the UBS Arena? It's the new Nassau Coliseum. They go underneath, and it looks like this, and they all got the Borelli covert. You know, Mr. Borelli's down there as well. And work attire's changed. Mando, he doesn't need all the same stuff he used to have. You got to change it up. So the days of wearing uncomfortable office attire are over. Suits and ties, thing of the past. I think we're all happy about that. But what are we supposed to wear instead? Cuts clothing. This stuff looks good. It looks fashionable. It's buttery soft. They got the custom engineered Pika tri-blend tee. It's amazing. I say all the time. Every time I do one of these ads, I say I fly and I travel in their clothes because that is the best compliment I could give clothes, I think. You want to travel in the most comfortable stuff you have, that is Cuts Clothing for me. So if you go to cutsclothing.com/basement right now, you will get 15% off your first order. It's the only shirt worth wearing. And there you go. So it's Cuts Clothing, CUTS, clothing.com/basement. And you can get your work leisure apparel for the sport of business or maybe the sport of bounty hunting. I don't know what you do. I could see Dog the Bounty Hunter rocking a Pika blend tee.
Fuck, man, I'm telling you, like we saw them that little airport scene or whatever. I bet a few of them had their Cuts clothing on.
Yeah.
We're living a new world, Robert. We're not living in a world where you have to fucking go suits and ties everywhere. That was like, back in the day when you have to travel, that's how you used to travel. Then it became like jeans and whatever. Now it's like the world's settling down. It's one of the good fucking things from this fucking nonsense is everyone gets to chill. We get to dress in barstool casual, basically, is how it's going now.
Absolutely. So use that promo code BASEMENT. Don't forget BASEMENT, the promo code for Cuts Clothing. And like you were saying before, the armor says, listen, the Beskar spear that you got, where'd you get that? He's like, it was a gift from a Jedi. She's like, that is a danger to all of us. So we're going to have to do away with that. Beskar's only made for armor. So let's make it into armor. And he's like, okay, but how about you make it into armor for a foundling? And we're like, oh, we know who that fucking guy is.
Did you say?
He said fucking foundling. And she's like, what foundling? He's like, a very specific one, Grogu. I want to visit him. And we're like, oh fuck, because we talked about at the end of last season, like, are we just not gonna have like Grogu in the Mandalorian for a bit? Is he not gonna be in season 3? Maybe we see him in season 4. They make no mistake about telling us the Mandalorian fucking misses his baby. He's like, no, I miss him. And she's like, well, that's against his new religion, the Jedi. He's like, I don't care what his fucking school says. I'm going to pick him up. Okay. So he has her make something. We don't know what it is. She wraps it up in a little bow, a little ribbon that looks like Baby Yoda's head. Just an adorable touch. You know that the armor gives great Christmas gifts. You know that just from that. You're like, oh yeah, she makes them all personalized.
Uncle
Fudge. Life Day.
She's probably like your fucking Uncle Dennis.
She probably is, honestly. Yeah, all the custom stuff. Yeah. This is when he asks about Bo-Katan. She gives him the whole history. We see them destroying Mandalore, and then the armor starts training the Mandalorian Din Djarin in how to use the Darksaber. And it's kind of like we see, like in, I feel like old medieval times movies, the broadsword is always like a heavy weapon, and they're always like lumbering over, swinging it, right? And we see the same thing out of the Darksaber. He's like, it's getting heavier with each swing. She's like, because you're not focused. And he even like throws himself off the bridge at one point and then just jetpacks back up. And I was like, oh yeah, well, I guess that makes sense. They all got jetpacks. They could be down there. And Paz Vizsla, the big bulky Mandalorian who saved him last time, he healed up his cut. He comes out of nowhere. He says, that doesn't belong to you. That was crafted by one of my ancestors, and maybe you're not good with it because maybe you're not supposed to have it. And he's like, how'd you win that? I won it in a duel. They go back and forth with the whole thing again. And he's like, then I challenge you to a duel. This reminded me a lot of Black Panther when T'Challa gets challenged for the throne. And it's like, all right, do you accept? Like, as long as you accept, we're just going to let this happen. The armor says the same thing. She says, Din Djarin, do you accept this challenge? He says, I do. And they have this fight on the bridge, which was so cool for me because I look at it like a side scroller video game fight, like a Street Fighter, a Mortal Kombat. The way they were, they had nowhere to go, right? And Paz Vizsla has like a little shield, a little, I don't know, sword, a little dagger type weapon. The Mandalorian obviously has his Darksaber. They put their jetpacks down, which I thought was funny. They're like, all right, let's have a fair fight, no jetpacks, no nut shots, and here we go. And it winds up being a cool fight, but the Mandalorian comes up on top. It looks like he's not going to for a little bit. Paz Vizsla even wields the Darksaber for a second, but Mandalorian gets him. He puts the throat to his blade, and the armor calls it like a referee. She's like, "It is all over." The Mandalorian wins, and I guess this is some sort of tradition. At the end of a duel, she has them say like their vows again. And she says, Paz Vizsla, have you ever taken your helmet off? No. Has it ever been removed by anyone else? No. Then she says, this is the way. Din Djarin, have you ever taken your helmet off? And he's just like, oh, fuck. I fucking did, definitely. And he doesn't say anything. And she's like, have you taken that helmet off? Come on, you got to swear to this. And he says, I have. And she says, then you are a Mandalorian no more. Fucking big moment where you're like, holy shit, what? And she's like, yeah, no. And he's like, but please, anything. I'll do anything to make up for this. And she says, well, the way says you gotta make up for it below the mines of Mandalore. And he's like, those are destroyed. And she says, this is the way, which was a tough shit. This is the way.
Yeah. That was a tough shit. This is the way. Perfect way to say it. I mean, I know my kids when they say stuff, and it's like, yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, oh man, you're really pissed off here. How do you kick the Mandalorian out of the Mandalorians? That's his fucking name. He doesn't have an identity now. He's just like the artist for the bounty hunter, formerly known as the Mandalorian. Like, yeah. So you have to drop the name too. They call him Mando, for God's sakes. I did love that too, where it's like he's like, oh, maybe like what are the odds that that's the one thing they ask? It's like, did you do the other 8 million parts of the creed since we've seen less? Yeah, no problem. Did you take off a mask? Motherfucker, I took it off twice.
He's like, right? You told me I got to give Grogu to the fucking Jedi. I couldn't do that if I couldn't take off the mask. It's like, he needs to point out the systems. He should have argued like fucking Alex and Dave were going back and forth at each other. That should have been this episode. And just them screaming at each other for the rest of the episode.
And that's the problem with like this, like, there's no gray area in these fucking religious. It's black or white. Yeah. Like he really did get fucked by that, but I felt terrible for him. This was a great line. I watched the Emergency Awesome breakdown of this episode where they're like, these guys are dueling. There's like 3 of them left in the world of this like part of the spec, right? And it's like they're dueling each other where you can basically take out almost half of the people that are left for you. And I didn't you feel it was bullshit that Mando almost lost, and the guy went fucking after him with the Darksaber and could have killed him. Yet she called it fucking once Mando won, she called it off and didn't let Mando fucking kill like a potential death one. I thought that was. I think the armor was looking for an excuse.
A little bias. Yeah. She had a little bias going into that one. I don't like that either.
It was like, you said MMA ref. I'm saying like it's like a guest referee where she like it's not the one where it refuses to count for like their opponent, but it's like she like didn't want to have to fucking.
She was giving the Mike Tyson quick count.
Yeah, exactly. I love though, and you know how much I love the hardcore championship. I love the Darksaber. It could be like a 24/7. All of a sudden, like, Bo-Katan drops out of the sky. It's like, let's go, Darksaber time. I love fucking 24/7 belts. They should. That's same with the crown in the dozen. I feel like that should be always just on the line. And whether or not people decline the challenge, it just people could just pop out of nowhere, just going for it. So I love it. Also, what kind of armor do we think Grogu's getting? It looks like a chainmail of some part, right?
It does. Yeah, we saw like the little links. So I would assume it's some kind of chainmail, but I'm already thinking about him. If we're going to see him next week, do you think Grogu at his new Luke Skywalker school is going to be in teeny tiny Jedi robes? That's going to be the most adorable thing ever, right?
That's going to be so fucking
little Grogu hood. Imagine his little hood. He pulls it up like.
It's like, I'm trying to think like the Christmas and stuff when you have like a little gnome or something at your house or whatever. That's what they have to like. What's Luke going to do? He doesn't have that just sitting around. I can't imagine there's a lot of little Yodas flying around his fucking academy. So that's going to be fucking adorable. I saw one person say, just based on because it's a fucking huge spear, and I'm like, where did the rest of the spear go?
Yeah.
Because Baby Yo, you could fucking like wrap him in it 5 times and it's still probably Beskar left over. So I saw someone say it might be like a little. I thought it'd be like a chain, and I don't know why, but someone put a picture of Baby Yo rocking a Yankee hat and Tim's.
I saw that. Yeah, and like he's got a jacket on. Yeah,
I was thinking he'd have a fucking big old fucking necklace, on like
big Rockefeller chain,
an Italian. Or that would be sick if he had like a straight up. And he had like the Mandalorian was his like charm or whatever. But someone said the little ball that he used to play is like the lever ball.
Yeah,
that would be cute if he.
He still got that though.
He trades it out and then he gets like a legitimate somehow the armor or whatever he has a little
Could it be a lightsaber hilt?
Ooh, Ooh, that would be sick.
I don't know. I don't know if it could be or not.
I hope we get to. I hope we get to see. Do you think we're going to see him next week? That's the question, though. Do we see him next week, or do we
Personally,
see
like,
him next
I
season?
want to so bad. I'm like, I want to see him so bad next week. So I hope we do. But I don't know. It's like I'm picturing also him going up to the armor and being like lightsaber, like a kid goes up to like a balloon animal person at a birthday party, and they're like, dragon, and the person's like, I don't fucking know how to make that. Like, I don't, here's a sword, you know?
Make me a bicycle clown.
yeah. I'm picturing Mando just like having a bunch of suggestions that the armor's like, I don't know how to do that. You're suggesting Jedi weapons. I'm a Mandalorian. He hops on the first flight to Tatooine, and he's forced to put all of his weapons in a carry-on bag, which I thought was a funny scene because he just has so many. He unspools like the entire grappling hook. He's got all his cartridges on his thing. And the droid that's making him check everything in is another one of those droids that I think was like originally created for Star Tours, the ride in Disney that Dave went on that will go on in April. When Dave brings us to Disney. I don't even know if we've mentioned that on the podcast, by the way. Dave is bringing us to Galaxy's Edge in spring, I think. We don't even have a date on it yet, but like we're going to make a video with Dave Portnoy, our boss, Jeff D. Lowe, Ken Jack, Chris Castellani, all the Star Wars people at Barstool in Galaxy's Edge. That's going to be incredible.
I cannot wait for that. It's going to be a fucking like again. You just put that group together, throw a camera, then put it in the fucking Galaxy's Edge and a bunch of Star Wars people around us. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen.
You're going to see the tears flowing from this guy.
And listen, if anyone out there, we're working on passes. I know Jeff's like working overtime to get his passes, and Dave's like, I don't want any fucking like I want lightning, I want fast, whatever the fuck it is. He wants to be moving through the park. I understand that's how Dave works. That's fine. I have to figure out a way to at least just sneak into that hotel for like 5 minutes. Hotel that has like a 8 million year waiting list, and it's $8 million a night to stay. I have to figure out a way to get there, but that's going to be hilarious. But this airport thing, this was one of my favorite scenes of the entire series because it was Star Wars with real life. You see people getting on a commuter thing. You have the kids sitting on the seat. I loved everything. Even the Star Tours droid, which I always loved Star Tours as like, that was the only Star Wars ride for years, obviously at Disney. I always loved that. And I always have been a fan of the guy who has too many weapons gag. It always makes me laugh. It always makes me laugh. I'm so happy you agree with me. I was giggling the entire time.
Absolutely love it. And we saw a child Rodian. And listen, earlier in the series, we said Rodians, dicks, hate them, whatever. Yep. This was a nice little child Rodian. Didn't say anything, just kind of looked over, waved to Mando, reminded him of his son, his little baby boy, his baby boy Grogu. And then Mando looked down at the little wrapping. And again, just looked like his head. And it was just such a like, oh, our little boy, we miss him so much. Mando misses him so much. We got to get to him soon. And he goes down to Tatooine. Why is everyone trying to go back to Tatooine? You know, Finn voice. Peli Moto is trying to get a Womp Rat away from her BD droid. Now, this little BD droid that we saw for the first time in live action is from Jedi Fallen Order. It's created for that video game, and it's kind of your companion. It's kind of your R2 during that entire game. And it's the most lovable part of that entire video game. It was definitely the most universally beloved thing that they created in that. So it was so cool to start incorporating them in live action. I'm sure people that are more into that game than I am were going even crazier than I was. And he's like, listen, I need a ship. You told me you got a replacement for the Razor Crest. I'm here to pick it up. And she's like, yep, that's exactly what I said. I have a new ship for you. She brings him over, and it is a pile of junk in Star Wars terms, but it's a Naboo starfighter from episode 1. One of my favorite underrated designs in the Star Wars galaxy. It was one that I think I brought up the other week when we were talking about like the bright scooters. And I was like, like they had the yellow ships in Naboo and stuff. So like this one was not as yellow as like a little bit. And by the end, it's almost completely buffed out. But the whole look of it, as soon as I saw a Naboo ship, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Shout out Dave Filoni, because I know that motherfucker was the reason they brought in some prequel shit here.
Yeah, and are we saying that is like this may not be a ship that Anakin was in, but it could be?
Like, I guess it could be. It's one of them, yeah.
Yeah, and it's
she said commissioned by the Queen herself. Like, boom, Padme. Yeah, that's a little Padme Easter egg for you.
They're connecting dots for you right in front of your face. So that's why I thought they brought it up too. I thought that was interesting. And so you want to say about the prequels, and I've had no shortage of things to say about the prequels, but they had some cool ass ships in the prequels. And
such cool designs. Yeah, Doug Chang was the concept artist for so many of them, and he still works at Lucasfilm doing stuff for them to this day because he's such a talented guy. And he kind of like. They understood the Ralph McQuarrie concept art in the prequels very well.
And I also loved how when he's like Mandalorian, and obviously we know where Boba is, so you're gonna end up at Tatooine. But it's like, do people in the Star Wars galaxy, when they're like they have nothing else to do, they're like, I'll just go to Tatooine for a little bit. Like I always find, and not even it's like, and in Mos Eisley, it's like we fucking live in this place nonstop. And I'm like, but then I'm thinking, whenever I'm out and I need to get dinner, there is like that place that's always like a fallback
Just
place.
to go
Like,
to, yeah.
did you have a place? What was your place at home that was like the fallback place where it's like I just need to get like something to eat real quick?
When I lived with Trent in the city, it was Stickies, the chicken fingers and fries joint. Oh, so fucking good. At this place, Jersey City, I feel bad saying it. It's kind of a trash thing to say, but it's like McDonald's and Wendy's. I order McDonald's and Wendy's so often, and I saw your blog. I read it to my girlfriend yesterday about the secret items coming in. We like looked through all of them. The McMuffin with the hash brown on it, that's number one for me. I got to try that.
I think I fucked it up too because I thought they said that they replaced the McMuffins with hash browns. I'm like, oh my god! But I think they're just putting a hash brown on top.
From the picture, it looks like they just slap a hash brown in there.
So that I've heard of before. Like they have them around here, you know, at all the delis. You'll just, you know, the dollar. It's like add a hash brown. I thought they were going like the doubles. The what was it? The KFC.
Oh, is the KFC
stack?
double down?
Yeah,
with the chicken on the. Yeah, that fucked my stomach up for 2 weeks.
And for people that didn't see the blog, they have one. It's the Land, Air, and Sea, and it is a Big Mac, a fish fillet, and a McChicken, all between like
big. It looks like one of those Scooby-Doo sandwiches where they make the biggest sandwiches in the world. It's like, how do you bite into that?
And it has all the sauces on it too. So I think you have your tartar sauce, you have your secret, so your Big Mac sauce, and then whatever the fuck you throw on a McChicken, I guess mayo. That. Like, you know, when we do our movie reviews and we compare it to like, if there's ever a movie that's like the Snyder Cut, it's a lot of shit, a lot of things that people know about. And they just slapped it together on a bun. I think we just fucking nailed that. Yeah, there's our Snyder
Cut.
Both
of us, right away. We knew that.
I've never even seen it, but that is my review right there. But yeah, I like for here. There's like a good pizza place. Shout out my people at Prado, and then Bliss in Mayapack where I live.
Oh, speaking of food, we're gonna eat the Batman calzone. We're gonna do that. Who has it? Is it
Little Caesars? And I looked it up.
They have those around here.
I looked it up. There's a few, and there's a good like the most of them is like kind of in between where me and you are, so we can meet kind of in the middle. So
we're gonna meet up. Little Caesars is offering. I'll put it on the screen now so everyone could see it. The most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. It's like a calzone pizza that's made to look like a bat symbol, and I think like we should do like a preview for the Batman where we just like sit there and eat it while we're talking.
If only if I had like stuff, if I had like the actual wardrobe for it, I'd dress like the penguin. Not to be confused with the mammal that you see at aquariums and zoos. But
low blow.
That would be fun if like you dressed up as the Riddler, I dressed up as the Penguin, and we fucking ate the calzone. But yeah, that's what's it called, the Bat Zone or something?
The Bat Zone, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah,
like I feel like the late Batman movies, when it came to Batman Forever and stuff like that, they were just basically doing stuff for commercialization of stuff. Having a fucking food for this movie that has, you know, the gun that murdered his parents, like a very metal movie, right? We've called it that. I just find like Little Caesar
Zodiac killer inspired.
They're like, we got to get some sort of money for the guys in case it flops.
Like, all right, pizza.
Little Caesar there, amazing.
Speaking of all this food. Speaking of good food, actually, let's talk about HelloFresh. Great food, restaurant quality food. We're not talking order in your local joint. We're not talking waste your money on delivery. We're talking America's #1 meal kit. They'll deliver these amazing farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes right to your doorstep. Skip all the trips to the grocery store. Skip out on the Uber Eats, all the seamless, all of that stuff. It's 72% cheaper than a restaurant meal of the same quality using HelloFresh. And it is the same quality. You make this stuff, it's amazing. Me and Clem talk about it all the time. It's good for a date night. It's good for a family meal. You could put we need 4 people. You have all the options on their website. They have 50 menu and market offers every week. All the items, veggie stuff, calorie smart, family friendly, gourmet options. And if you order now, you get the 3 free gifts, which who knows? This could be wrapped up in a little Baby Yoda thing. A free gift could be a lightsaber. You never know what the free gift is. Could be the Darksaber itself. And then, you'll be the reason Mandalore falls because it can't be gifted to someone, right?
True.
If you go to HelloFresh.com/16 Robbie, remember I upped that promo code 16 ROBBIE. and then use that promo code 16Robbie. You get 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. That'll feed the Mandalorian covert for a long time, for weeks. Those 16 free meals, right? Just the 3 of them. So go to HelloFresh now. It is America's #1 meal kit for a reason. I love it. Clem loves it. The Mandalorians love it, and it would be a hell of a lot better on Tatooine than them grilling up that Womp Rat. They said like, oh, make sure you get that Womp Rat before it goes bad. No, Pelimoto, leave the Womp Rat on the ground. Order HelloFresh. What are you doing?
This is the way. This is the way, baby.
This is the way. So she reveals the starfighter to him. He's like, what the fuck is this? Give me my money back. I'm not taking this. You said you had a Razor Crest for me. She's like, no. It's a replacement for the Razor Crest. Let me tell you a little bit about it. It's pre-Empire. It's off the grid. Go to hyperspace without, powering up or whatever she says. At least let me fix it up, and then you could make your decision. So he's like, Jesus fucking Christ, what else am I going to do? He's like, all right, let me help fix it up with you. He helps fix it up. We get a very cool, long montage. Reminded me of, The Mandalorian. This was a Mandalorian episode. We got a lot of montages in that show. So It was like right back to that universe. They wind up using Jawa's help. Jawas come over with some parts that he's like, how could they possibly find that? She's like, I used to date some Jawas. They're very furry creatures. And I got to say, this episode really hammered it home for me. If you go back and listen to our earliest Mandalorian podcast, I don't think I liked Amy Sedaris' character. I'm pretty sure I was kind of like, she's kind of a corny character. I don't love going to her all the time. I have grown to love this character. I actually really like her. Like, she cracks me up at this point. Her telling him that Jawas are furry. She used to date one, but now she's working on herself. That really made me laugh. And all this stuff I thought was good. The whole building of the ship. And then when they finally like wheel it out to the front, it felt epic.
All right. So there was 2 parts of it with her. When I first saw her, I was like, this goddamn chick again. She's being silly. She was being silly. That's the word. It's a very silly thing. And there is room for it. But with the droids, there was almost like a prequel-y feel to it. I don't know how else to describe it. And when they were getting into like the guts of the ship and the jargon, there was just way too much Star Wars technical jargon mixed with like naming a random species and throwing that kind
like
of
a Yuzum and Farrick and
there was a lot. So I was like, Jesus Christ. So I have to admit, I did not really enjoy our time with her for the most part. But when I found out that crazy bitch has been fucking Jawas and dating Jawas, I was like, you know what? Like, she's the crazy aunt. She's the crazy aunt, and you just have to, like, you just smile, nod, and agree with her the entire time you're with her. And the fact she actually put together, like, I thought we were getting a trash ship the entire time. The fact that actually came out of the other side, and she was shitting all over the Razor. Oh, Razor Crest, which sweet name. He needs to come up with a better name for this one, like another good name for this one, because that fucking name was what made it awesome. But again, if you're fucking a Jawa, like, you're just an X Factor. I don't even know what to make of you. Now, there's many takes I have on this podcast that I'm sometimes not sure about or kind of just throw. I guarantee you, Jawas are the most selfish lovers in the world. They do not care if you're feeling good. They don't care if they're ending quickly. If we had a Roman ad, we throw it in here. Those motherfuckers, they're just doing whatever the fuck they want.
Utini.
Oh my God, they definitely go Utini. The Jawa O-face, the Jawa Utini O-face. Oh,
they just have like one light in the mouth go off for their O-face.
Yeah.
So it's their eyes and their mouth.
The eyes, all that light from the eyes just transfers to their mouth. And just, and they're definitely like, they're not pulling out either. Jawas, they don't care about you.
How do you think there's so many Jawas?
There's a reason they have to build those giant speeders, because these guys are just busting inside. Yeah. Wow, we got really into the love life with Jawas.
We went into Jawa sex this week, yeah.
And I've said it though, because she says they're furry too, which I always figured they were furry, right? Like in my mind's eye. But I do not ever want to see what a Jawa looks like. Like, there's
me neither.
things in the Star Wars universe that need to like let the imagination run wild. So
Agreed.
Again, you could show me them having sex and saying Utini, but don't let me actually see them. Like, they're furry.
I never want to see a Jawa ever.
I also feel like they have sex with their robes on too, right? Like they open the robe up.
I bet they like pull it up or something. Yeah. They're not taking that robe off. Yeah.
This is why you guys listen to us. This is why you subscribe on the YouTube.
If you haven't left us a like at this point, what are you waiting for? Waiting for? Like that YouTube video. Come on. He goes on a test run with this ship. He's like, I should take her for a test run, huh? Pelimoto's like, yeah, take her for a test run. He goes through the old pod race track on Tatooine. He goes through Beggar's Canyon. We see very familiar settings, and they did a great job of the sound design on this scene, because when you think about that, at least when I think about that pod racing scene in episode 1, I think of the sound. That's like the coolest part about it. The pod racers hitting against each other, speeding up, all that, and they nailed it with this. It was like you could tell they knew fans were going to be listening for the same echoes when they went through Beggar's Canyon and all that. And he's going so fast. He's, open her up. He goes into space at one point. He waves to that Rhodian that he saw on the flight over, and then he gets pulled over. Remember this from Mando? Sometimes you get pulled over in space by a couple X-Wings, a couple New Republic X-Wings. The first X-Wing pilot that talks to him is actually the actor that was like on set playing Luke Skywalker in Mandalorian season 2 finale, which is cool. They give that guy a little role. It's like how they gave the voice actor of Anakin a little role in The Mandalorian as well. It makes Star Wars feel like that little family environment, which we all love. And then the second one is our fucking pal who said, have you lost anyone on Alderaan? Our fucking boy. He's a lovable X-Wing pilot at this point because he's just a dope. After that Alderaan line, you're like, all right, you're an absolute dope. And he's like, we can let him go on this one. But did you used to drive a Razor Crest? You look very familiar. You sound familiar. You used to drive a Razor Crest? He's like, no, I think you're confusing me for someone else. He's like, that was found with some Imperial remnants on Navarro, parts of that ship. He just fucking takes off in hyperspace. He hits the button. They're like, how did he take off to hyperspace? He didn't even power up. Well, that's the new ship. That's Mando's new thing. Pretty badass. The first thing I was thinking about the ship, I love the ship, by the way. How's he going to get bounties on it? If he takes in a bounty, he had that whole compartment on the Razor Crest where he had like 100 of the carbonite slabs, And he was like, I could just throw people down there. It's such a tiny ship that he's got a little bubble that he's like, what'd you do to the astromech droid slot? And she's like, I made it a little bubble. We know that's going to be for Grogu.
That's for our boy, baby, yo.
That's going to be the greatest look of all time. When he's in the ship and Grogu's in the fucking bubble, I can't wait to see that. But where's he going to put bounties? He's going to need a trailer?
Disintegrations. That's what he's gonna have to do. He's gonna have to go the fucking Boba route and just start murking motherfuckers and being like, I don't have room to carry anything. What do you want me to do? Like, like a bounty hunter who's getting a 2-door car without a back seat. Like, it's just not a practical thing. How did that never come up? Actually, Mando should have been like, I am a fucking bounty hunter. I have bounties that I have to transport. I can't have them in a little thing right behind my head.
He's got to fix his catchphrase. He's just, I could bring you in cold. I could bring your head in cold. That's it, but I can't bring you in warm anymore. My ship's too tiny.
Yeah, it's like, sorry, dude. I warm would have been an option, but there's this crazy bitch attached.
You're just gonna start putting heads in the little bubble, like it's like Walt Disney's head in the Frozen thing.
Just to put a spike in there, he just starts spiking them on top of each other, and then he has to move it out for when Grogu comes in. He puts in like a car seat for Grogu to sit.
Yeah.
Like,
a little car seat. Oh my god, he buckles him in. Oh, that would be so cute.
That's the trade-off you need to have in order to like have a ship that can come faster than a Jawa. I mean, that's kind of what he has to do.
And he comes back down, and I loved this line by Mando. Pelimoto's like, how was it? And he goes, wizard. Fucking wizard. I'm stealing that, Mando. I'm stealing that immediately. And she says, one of your friends stopped by while you were gone. He's like, one of my friends? What are you talking about? I don't have friends. She's like, yeah. She said her name was, and we hear from the top, Fennec Shand. She drops down. Pelimoto's like, I thought we had fucking security in this place. What the hell? They need Simply Safe, former sponsor of the podcast. And Fennec Shand stops by and to tell Mando, we need muscle, basically. She's like, I need muscle. He's like, Boba Fett? She's like, yep. And she throws him some credits. He gives the credits back. He's like, I'll do it for free. I don't care. I assume he's saying this because Boba helped him with his journey, right? So it's a nice 1-for-1. Mando's a guy of honor, guy of respect. It was always about respect. He says, I just got to visit a little friend first. End of the episode. So the big question is, are we going to see him visit his little friend next week? Or are we going to catch back up with Boba Fett on Tatooine? Maybe they'll build some more of their army before Mando gets there, and Mando comes in for the big save at the end with Grogu. Or maybe without Grogu. I don't know. I have no idea. If we follow Mando to go get Grogu next week, we're getting Luke, right?
Oh my god, yeah. That's why, like, my brain doesn't know. Every single episode, I think at the end we're like, I don't know who the villain is, because I thought one thing going in. I don't even know who the next episode is going to be centered around. That's the point we're at right now. It's fucking craziness. It's crazy. And then
maybe it'll go back and forth. That'd be cool if they went back and forth instead of the flashbacks and modern day. What if it was Boba and Mando?
How about How about we get? No, how about this? How about we get another flashback to Tank, followed by Mando in present day, followed by Boba in present day. Then Mando has a flashback.
It sounds like the land, air, and sea.
Yeah, exactly. We're Pulp Fiction, fucking Mandalorian fiction is what we're basically doing. We're hopping all over time lines. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Yeah, it's a lot to digest. It's a lot.
I like that we don't know where we're going. It's nice that next week is a complete like throwing shit at the wall as far as predictions. We have no idea.
Until Mando said Boba Fett at the end. I was like, oh yeah, that's what I'm watching. I'm not.
Yeah, he's in this show. Yeah,
he's in this show
Hank
too.
had a great tweet. You see Hank's tweet about it. He was texting me. Hank, shout out 3 a.m. crew. Hank.
Oh wow.
Me at 2. Yeah, he said, when does this come out? I said in an hour. And he said, damn, that's too late. And then as soon as it came out, he texted me and said, holy shit, because I think he's a huge Mandalorian fan. As soon as he saw his guy Din Djarin, he was in, and he stayed up till 4. And he tweeted, this was such a good episode of the show. They should make an entire show based around
it. It was incredible.
Good idea, Hank. You know what? I think that would work out.
I think, and like you said, the once Mando took off in the ship, there was a lot of like those little Easter eggs. Like Jeff was telling us that the ramp, the pod racing thing,
the
like
Beggar's Canyon,
they broke the ramp and it never was fixed. And he's like, that thing's been broken for like 50 fucking years. What have you guys been doing here? And like you said, that dude was always gonna make me laugh. He is fucking. Imagine if he was like, did you lose anyone in Mandalore? It's like, yeah, Night of 1,000 Tears. You ever fucking heard of it, man? That was one of my tears. Was that night?
As soon as they cut to him, I just laughed. Like just seeing him gave me a chuckle. I was like, that fucking guy.
Also, Wizard, and what is it? Anakin's friend says Wizard. In like after he does like the pod racing or the flying or whatever. So very, very cool shit all around. And again, no clue. Like, this is the thing. What's gonna happen with the Pikes? Are they the big bad? Who is above the Pikes? Are the Hutts coming back? Where does Big K stand in all this? The Rancor. There's so much. I don't like
the Rancor. Forgot about the Rancor. Boba's gonna ride the Rancor.
If I had a gun to my head right now and said who's on the sus list, I don't even know who is going to be on the episode. There's so much shit going on. I guess it's good. It's a lot to digest right now. I think everyone's in the same boat, right?
Yeah. And shout out to you, by the way, for calling a pod racing scene this season. Not technically a pod racing scene, but like basically, right? Like it's like you saying there was gonna be a NASCAR scene and something, and then someone winds up like going and riding a go-kart on a NASCAR track.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, well, yeah, that works.
Right?
Yeah. It's Pod Race Junior. Yeah, it was cool.
And what was it wasn't a pod racing thing when they had the trash compactor, the thing in the trash compactor, the little pole or whatever.
The pole from the trash compactor in this episode. Such a subtle Easter egg. Like if you're not a hardcore Star Wars fan, you're not getting that. Even Jeff texted me, or Ken Jack texted on our group chat, like, was that the fucking pole from the trash compactor? It was like, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and watch, man. Like I don't fucking remember. But yeah, it was a great episode. Chapter 5 of the Book of Boba Fett. It's my favorite episode thus far. A slam dunk, as Clem called it, with the dark saber wielded while the slam dunk was going on. Fucking be careful you don't slice that up. Thank you to our sponsors, 3Chi, HelloFresh, and Cuts Clothing. And keep an eye out for the giveaway videos. Email clemreport@gmail.com. I'll extend it because I forgot to post the giveaway stuff, but everything is at this point gathered. We got really cool stuff. We got a Greedo action figure that I didn't even know we had. We got so much cool shit. Some stuff from the Phantom Menace, the 50th anniversary re-release, all of this stuff. The not the 50th anniversary of Phantom Menace, but of Lucasfilm. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you like the video. If you're on Spotify, hit us with that 5-star rating. If you're on Apple Podcasts or Apple, whatever their fucking app is called at this point, give us the review, the 5-star rating on that as well. Do we have any that you could read off from last week?
Let me take a look right now. And it's the clemreport@gmail.com. I feel like, to be honest with you, we'll wait until the end of the Boba. We'll do it after Boba's done.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And I found like the generator that we could do in terms of to easily
and maybe I'll even do a video showing off what the giveaway stuff is to make people want to sign up.
So do we have Star Wars? Do we have any Marvel? Is it Star Wars? What are we dealing with here? What do we got, Bob?
It's mostly Star Wars, and we got a little bit of Marvel too. I have like a Bruce Banner eating shawarma Funko Pop still in the box. Nice. I've got some Miles Morales Funko Pop still in the box. I want to send all the stuff I want to send is like the boxed stuff, but I've got Mandalorian action figures, Rise of Skywalker action figures, Darth Vader action figures. Like I said, Phantom Menace action figures, really, really cool stuff is going to be in this giveaway. The Mandalorian Monopoly set. One person's going to get a board game, Mandalorian Monopoly. That's fun.
Beautiful.
So yeah, it's going to be good.
We got let's see, JTAR88, Most Dope, that's a good name. Larry from Detroit, Landshane 34, CJ Decker 69, and Kingley. The best Barstool content, according to Kingley. The best. Put that on the fucking poster under deadline. We got to get Portnoy to
Variety. We got to shout out our guy Kroll.
Yeah. He's like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Bob and this one's from CJ Decker. Forget PMT and go to MMB. Bob and Clem host the Dream podcast for nerds. You gotta love it here. So
that'll be the new rivalry at Barstool, us and PMT, you know? The two biggest podcasts going head to head.
And JTAR 88, yeah, exactly. And yeah, we're gonna have to recruit some people because they have a fucking whole gang now over there.
Yeah, true.
JTAR 88 says do Peacemaker, and I've seen the tweets about it. We're going to do Peacemaker. The thing is, I think they dropped the first 3 episodes around the same time.
They dropped the first 3 at once, and then it's weekly. So it was the schedule was hard to line our things up. I've been watching all of them, and I love this show. I absolutely love it. I think it's fucking awesome.
That's the thing is when I feel like I'm behind a show, I basically have to just get one day where I just bang them out. Cause if I finish it and then I know I have 2 left, I'm like, all right. And then the third one piles on top, crazy week. Obviously football's going on. So my weekends just becomes consumed with that. So Peacemaker will be done. I wish we could have done it after every single episode.
It might be an end of season.
But I think it might be
season 1 recap.
And then when season 2 comes out, which I would imagine it will. I don't know how everything.
It's gotta.
But yeah, I don't know. They haven't announced anything yet, though, right?
No, but it's just so well received. It has to be.
And I'll be honest with you guys. I'll be honest with you too. Like it's from the jump, it sounded like everyone was liking it from day one. With DC, you got to show me before you like Marvel gets that fucking. They have it. You know, we do shows about cartoons that have nothing to do with the universe just because we're like, you guys are so fucking good. We have to cover this. DC has to kind of show me. They showed us. Now we'll do it. We'll do a recap after season 1, and then when season 2 comes out, we'll probably hopefully get a weekly thing lined up for all that. And yeah, and we got the fucking.
Are you into the boys too? Are you a boys guy?
No, same thing. I have to. Yeah. I feel so far now. It's season 3 is coming out for that
in June. Yeah.
Okay, so that gives me time to catch up. I can catch up by then.
And the seasons are very short. I think there's only like 6 episodes in each season.
Okay.
Or maybe there's 6 in the first and 9 in the second or so. It's not a super long binge, but it's definitely one worth doing. The boys are great.
I always have to watch out when I say this because Bob doesn't think human trafficking is a big deal. But is this kid?
No. God, no. The most unfriendly show in the existence. I would rather you show Sienna The Sopranos than the boys.
Okay, so there we go. It's all the other parents out there.
For a million years, show her The Boys.
I watched what was the Invincible? What's the one? The cartoon. I watched episode 1, and without giving spoilers, there's a moment where I was just like, "Yep, this one is an adult show right here." So, yeah, we'll definitely get the Peacemaker done for sure.
Peacemaker too. Don't show Sienna Peacemaker.
Yeah, no Peacemaker. I saw like 10 F-bombs on my timeline just on like the trailer alone. So yeah, what should we do is to leave a comment here. What should we have for
how about hashtag Boba Fettless?
I was gonna say Cucka Fett, but we can do Boba Fettless. I like that.
Boba Fettless. Hit us with the hashtag if you made it to the end of the episode. Well, I always like seeing the tweets when people make it to the end of the episode. I'm like, fuck yeah, they rode with us that whole time. I love that. So hit us with that hashtag. Hit us with the likes on YouTube. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and we will be back next week for Chapter 6. If you're a wrestling fan, look out for my interviews with Dominic and Rey Mysterio this week, leading into the Royal Rumble.
Boom.